Anyhow,
that brings
well,
us on to the final. Now, we're going to try and do something a bit different because we've talked. I think we're both fed up as much as apologies if you're coming to this new, but we have spoken so much about Toulouse and Bordeaux this season because they were the two French teams that went longest in Champions Cup. They are the two French teams that have made up the bulk of the France side. They
on
are
telly the
obviously
most.
they've been on TV the whole time. Um, I mean, I have still spoken about Poe quite a lot for a team that's never been on TV. Um, but yeah, we've done it to death, or we feel like we have. So we're going to try and do it a bit differently. We are each going to make the strong case for why one team would win. Before we go on to that, though, have you had a look at the odds with any bookmakers, Richard?
I have briefly Paddy Power earlier.
What was
Um,
Paddy Power saying?
5-4 on to lose Bordeaux evens.
So that is the almost reverse of Sky Bet, which have Bordeaux slight favourites, ever so slightly
Really?
favourites. Yeah.
I'm amazed by
The
that.
I actually went on I think they're called Parion de Sports. I went on a French bookmaker today, um, as part of some research for something else I was doing. Um, but they had on the pure head to head, they were both at 2-1. So, or two, well, I don't know how it was working, but they were both level.
Okay.
Their odds of winning were level. If you included the draw, Bordeaux were slightly shorter odds. So they also have Bordeaux as basically level, but Bordeaux ever so slightly. Like we're talking less than a quarter to
Mm,
one sort of thing. But
interesting.
on the whole, bookmakers can't separate them,
Yeah.
which feels to me pretty fair enough.
Yeah.
Um, Especially
Perhaps,
when
yeah.
Sky Bet had Argentina at 7-1 for the win last week, which I'm annoyed I now didn't put more than two
Can
pounds on.
lump on. Yeah.
Um, because that, well, it seemed pretty ridiculous at the time, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Indeed.
Anyway, how do you want 2 minutes? Should we do two
On
minutes,
2 minutes or
or
three,
do you want three
three
point?
defining, I reckon three,
Okay.
which
Well, I
three
reckon that's
reasons,
probably going
three
to do it
reasons
with
why.
inside 2 minutes. You can go first on
So
Toulouse.
who am I? I am four to lose.
Yeah, you are strong
Okay.
arming the case for
Okay.
Toulouse.
Okay. I'm going to go number one, line out. Stronger attacking and defensive line out has been a bit of an Achilles heel, as you've raised multiple points throughout the year for Bordeaux. Um, that I don't think needs too much more explanation as a threat. Number two, I'm going to go Thomas Ramos. And well, his all-round game is just he's so complete, isn't he? But he is probably still who you want over the ball in the 80th minute, as we saw at the mile, as we've seen him do so many times. I think that in itself could be a huge difference maker. The third reason is a bit more of an intangible, and it's that I think Toulouse. I don't think Bordeaux have already played their final. I think that'd be incredibly unfair on them. But I think there is having dropped out of Europe when they did, having been stung by Bordeaux a few times this year, that they have so laser focused, such a proud side, and it will sort of almost be inconceivable within that camp that they won't do them when it matters. With a little bit of psychological edge from last year. So I suppose you can group that last one under general Toulouse vibes would probably be the category it comes under. Um, so that's me as
You've got 30 seconds if you want to flesh out any other points.
well, not massive. I mean, I actually what I actually think is that Bordeaux are going to scrape it, but that is
No,
my
you're
thought.
not allowed to talk about Bordeaux in this 2 minute
Well,
segment.
that's all I'm saying. I'm not giving you my reasons why, but uh, I'm happy to leave it there. If I had a fourth, I'd say the difference that Emmanuel Meafu can make is the outstanding forward on the pitch.
Yeah, I think I think you could say. I also think they'll be better for the run in horse racing parlance. Guys like Ramos, Kinghorn haven't actually played that much recently,
Yeah,
and Kinghorn didn't really get himself in the game. They'll be better off for getting some game time into some of those players.
yeah. Okay. For Union Bordeaux Bègles to complete a
Well,
historic
I'll try
double.
and do it in 3 points. But my 2 minutes have started. You touched on it with Maxime Lamotte hitting form at the right time. I think they are just playing with such a joie de vivre and a vibe. They are all flying. They are all clearly really enjoying their rugby, and they are all in great form. Lamotte scoring a hat trick, Penaud scoring tries, Jalibert setting up all sorts of things. Louis Bielbiaré will be back next week. Um, I think they're all in just such good form. I think that counts for a lot. They are the form side coming into this. They feel like they're building up a bit of an aura, if that makes sense, like a kind of invincibility that they will have had within the squad. Um, so that's my first point. My second point, to borrow one from you last week, Mathieu Jalibert. They have arguably the outstanding back or player across these two sides in terms of ability, form again, but he can make the difference. He could pull some rabbits out hats, more cliches like that. But he is just playing on another level at the moment, isn't he? And
Yeah.
we saw the difference he made in the Champions Cup final. Um, my third point, and I'm going to run out of time. My third point: Antoine Dupont, Paul Grau. Toulouse are a one-man team, and they haven't got that one man. That's my argument. No, I think they like Dupont. I think Paul Grau is a really, really good player. He seems to be getting a lot of stick for a guy that plays really well, defends really well, physical, like passes well, gets on the end of tries, is quick.
He was great on Friday.
I thought he was great, and he was getting hammered by people like online and by Mertz, and it's like what poor bloke, like the guy can't do anything right. But they don't have Dupont, and I don't know whether some of those tries that they scored last year in the final happen without Dupont, and whether they have that X factor, whether they can do that kind of weak, whether they still have that aura of we will score from anywhere and we are all just amazing, whether they quite have that aura with Paul Grau, whether they quite get the service or whether they're quite as active around the fringes with their ball carriers because they don't, Dupont sucking in two or three defenders by himself just around the fringe, and then before you know it, Flamont's through a hole. I don't think they quite have that. Whereas the X Factor players in Bordeaux are all available and they're all flying and they're all used to playing together. Luku, Jalibert, Moafana, Deporter are all in brilliant form and in great rhythm together as a unit.
Yeah.
That was a little bit more than 2 minutes.
I think they're all very fair. To sum up before
However, but I haven't quite decided. I think I've just got a hunch that Ubebe might do it. Um,
yeah,
I think a combined 15, and I know you hate that sort of thing, and I'm not sure there's any value in a combined 15. I think a combined 15 only has about five Bordeaux players, six Bordeaux players. I think
possibly.
there's an argument that you don't even pick Penaud. I think if you pick 9, 10, 12, 13, and 11, and 3, and I think arguably 3, but I think that's pretty much it.
Interesting. I think I would pick Damien Penaud still, but um, yeah,
I
it's
think
going to be amazing. I can't believe it's a year ago since that mauling. I don't think it's going to be quite the same this time around.
my one
Imagine if it was
thing.
the complete opposite.
Sorry.
Imagine if it was the complete opposite, like Bordeaux, 60
Imagine.
0.
Say the final thing I've got on this 2025, and I've been trying to keep track of this, or mentally trying to keep track of this. I'm calling it the year of the bridesmaid. I don't know if you want to call it something else, but those that have always a bridesmaid, never the bride. this is the year that it's finally their turn. So we've had McIlroy in the Masters, PSG won the Champions League, Crystal Palace won their first trophy for a long time. Bath obviously won the Premiership first time in a long time. Leinster won the URC for the first time. UBB won Europe, having been pretty close before. South Africa in the World Test Championship final, they won their first silverware in a major tournament for a long time. There's probably others, if you can think. Oh, you've probably got others that you can think of, but but there was this weekend a fight back for the perennial winners when Crusaders beat the Chiefs in Super Rugby. Chiefs' third consecutive loss in a Super Rugby final. Is that an omen for Toulouse? Are they going to be as winners going to win again, or are we going to see the perennial bridesmaids of UBB or Stade Bordeaux or CA Bègles? Are they going to finally get the win? Their first, which would be their first one as UBB. And I think the last win for them was 1991, CA Bègles won. And I think Stade Bordeaux is like 1912 or something like that. So,
Nice.
yeah.
We've also got here just to round out, at least in finals, the task ahead of Bordeaux. The last time Toulouse lost in a final? It's quite
Uh,
tricky.
is it, was it 2014 to Toulon? No, they didn't lose the final then, did they?
It was
No.
in 2008 against Munster in what I assume was the Heineken Cup. They have
Yeah, it
won
was. Yeah.
the 10 last finals they've played in, going back to the top 14 in
Gee,
2008. So top 14, Champions Cup, three top 14s, Champions Cup, two top 14s, another Champions Cup, and the top
gee,
14.
Jesus.
It's
Wow.
quite
That
quite
is
something.
quite some history that UBB are battling against there.
That's courtesy of Pablo Guillen, I think
That's
so, a
very good stuff.
journalist for Midi Olympique.
Yeah.
Um, cool. Anything else other than to just look forward and await? It was a Friday night last year, right? And it's Saturday this time around.
Yeah, I don't know why it's a Saturday this year. It was a Friday the year before as well, I think,
Okay.
or it has been in the past. But yeah, enjoy Saturday night.
Enjoy. All right.
Paris in the Stade, back at the Stade de France.
Yeah,
Could be
quite
quite an
right too.
occasion that.